Hello and welcome back to ChäoS Noah. My name is Maybe Dennis, and last time we did Ayase's route, where we kind of diverted when we went to her hospital room and saw that she was covered in blood and was starting to collect D swords. And after talking to her, we decided to rely on Ayase and her prophecy of Gladiol. And then a third melt happened. Things went to shit. And we kind of went over to Senna and Kozupi, got their swords, and then finally got Takumi to essentially free Ayase from her wicked heart, and he obtained his D-sword. And then kind of ended with Ayase doing this throw that destroyed the sky as it was devouring the city or something. And now we have a blue sky and, everything's hunky-dory. She ended with her smile, which is what really mattered the most. But today, we're going to do another character's route. Today, we're going to do my personal favorite character's route, Senna's route. And you can probably tell, because I started in the beginning of Chapter 3, where all the decisions for Senna are supposed to be made. And the first one happens when Senna attacks you for the first time, because you see your sword. So, let's head into it. There aren't actually that many things we need to do. The first decision we have to make, we have to skip it. So, now we're in the yes-no section. So, look at me more. Yes. I don't know who said that, but I will look at you. Oh wait, okay, no, never mind. That was Takumi saying it. No, I don't want to look at you. For her, I wouldn't mind begging on my knees. Yes. Yes. I'm kind of surprised that the step on me one isn't required here. I thought it would have been, if anyone, I thought it would have been for Senna's route. I wish he'd step on me, actually. Okay, maybe that's the reason why. Oh yes, step on me, Senna. The sword is going to run through me, isn't it? I can tell. Yeah, it will. And she's going to kill me with that sword. No, she won't. And like that, we're pretty much on our way to the ending, or not to the ending, but on our way to getting Senna's ending. All we need to do left is do the same thing we did last time at Chapter 6, where we, do the yes-nos. I'll probably end up skipping that, but everything else should be the same. So, I'll see you where we get new content. Oh, we actually got some new scenes. This is actually after we met Senna in this exact car. I think we went back home and did some other stuff, discussing about Shogun, but now we're in the point of view of Senna. So, yeah, let's see. In front of the Shibuya station, there is an old train car called the Green Frog that's open to visitors. Senna Aoi was sitting inside the car. She bit her thumbnail as she watched the people coming and going outside, a bored expression on her face. This is where she'd met Takumi Nishijo the other day, and now she was going back here again. She didn't go to school. She didn't think she had the time. There was a constant sense in her mind that the time was running out. It made her angry and annoyed, and she took it out on everyone she met. That's why she acts so aggressive. Senna had said to herself, her voice filled with hate. She stuffed a hand into her uniform pocket and took out a single piece of paper. Photo? Oh no. Oh, fun! It looked like it had come from a small memo pad. That one was badly wrinkled. Written on the paper was a complex row of numbers and letters that seemed to be some kind of formula. But perhaps because it was written in pencil, or maybe because so much time had passed since it was written, the writing had faded to the point where it was almost impossible to read. Now that's pretty legible. The most you could make out was IR2. It was something that Senna's father had once written. It wasn't a keepsake or a treasured memory. To Senna, it was something she needed to keep from forgetting how much she hated him. Oh, okay. I need to fuel my rage so I can make sure that I complete my mission. I see. Senna's family had once been happy, but ever since her father had written that formula on this piece of paper, things had slowly, quietly, but surely started to go wrong. Oh, this is probably from Hatano's point of view then. Senna's father was a scientist working for a large corporation. Senna was only in elementary school at the time, and she didn't really know what he did, but she knew that he was a busy man. He almost never came home, but when he did, he was really nice to her, but he'd never be home for more than a day. He'd go back to work almost immediately. At the time, she wasn't mad at him for never being home, but she had almost no memories of her family eating dinner together, which bothered her a little. Then one day, about 6.5 years ago, her normally calm and quiet father came home in a flurry of excitement.
Senna, 父さんはすごい発見をしたぞ。これはノーベル賞どころの騒ぎじゃない。
何がそんなにすごいの？
What's a Nobel Prize?
この公式はこれまでの世界の仕組みをも変えるだろう。それほどの大発見なんだ。
Then he took a sheet off a memo pad to write out IR2 formula for her. Why would you do that for a child?
ずっと探していたんだよ。父さんではどうしても思いつけなかった。プロジェクトノアは停滞していた。手詰まりだった。だがこの方式があれば計画は次の段階に進めるんだ。
With this new formula, we can recreate the Noah project. We'll name it something different. Noah 2.
まさかあんなところで見つけるなんて思いもしなかったよ。これはまさに信仰の救いだね。
Oh god, I freaking hate that. Oh, that phrase.
東京駅だ。たまたま通りかかったんだ。本当に偶然だった。セナは東京駅に行ったことはあったかな。やたら広いだろ、あの駅の構内は。その構内の一角にたくさんの作文が展示されていたんだ。文部省の全国なんとか作文コンクールとか、そんな名前の展覧会だったよ。優秀な子供たちの作文が飾ってあってね。セナ知ってるかい？もしかして応募したりしたかい？
Wait, this formula was displayed publicly? Oh no, that could have caused. Oh god, that could have caused so many problems. And it kind of did.
わかんない。多分知らない。
セナが出ればきっとセナも優秀作品に選ばれていたんじゃないかな。
そんなことないよ。私、作文は苦手。
そうか？もっと自信を持つべきだと思うがな。
ねえ、作文がすごい大発見だったんだ。
いやー、違う。そうじゃないんだ。作文なんてどうでもいいんだよ。重要だったのはその裏に書かれていた落書きなんだ。そこに飾られていた作文は透明のプラスチックの額に収められていてね、裏側も見ることができた。それは多分演出とかそういうものじゃない。たまたま透明なだけだったんだろうね。きっと主催者には作文の裏の落書きを見せようなんて気はなかったはずなんだ。だからこの公式を父さんが見る確率はそれこそ天文学的数字だったわけさ。
Let the divine light praise you.
奇跡というやつなの。
公式っていうことは算数なんだね。
ああ、そうだよ。すごく難しい算数だ。
算数で世界を変えられちゃったりするのかな？
You have no idea.
ああ、変えられるよ。父さんの研究はね、世界を変えることなんだ。
ほんと？信じられないな。
いつか証明してあげるよ。見ていてくれ、セナ。
Just you wait. I'm gonna change your world for better or for worse. 6.5 years had passed since then. Senna gritted her teeth and shoved the paper back in her pocket. She looked at the cloudy sky outside the windows. Her dad had been right. The world was about to change. Things around Senna had already changed dramatically. The world was being reborn into something awful and ugly. The worst kind of world imaginable.
そんな世界は作らせない。奴を殺して私が止めてやる。
That was a nice little extra scene. It really shows how she fuels her fire. Oh.
お前が望むと望まないに関わらず、もしこれ以上踏み込んでくるようなら。
I didn't include this because, like, I didn't say anything because a lot of it was the same. But the part where it differed was the line right before this, where he's like, "No, I couldn't count on Remy anymore. I got to school today and she hadn't even been there. It's like she was never there." And then he said, "I need somebody to protect me, someone other than her." And the first person that came to mind was, in this case, instead of Ayase, it was Senna. So that's how this ends up veering into the Senna ending.
負を正にするぐらいの強い意識を持つんだな。中途半端な気持ちじゃ妄想に食われるだけだぞ。
Senna Aoi. She'd given me that warning before saying goodbye the other day. She knew something and had a D sword, and she was kind of strong too. Would she save me? I needed her to, really badly. So that slight bit was what's gonna go into the next part. Oh, wait, this is different too. Next day, I headed to the area in front of the station. I didn't want to go at all. The events at Ofront had left me with traumatic memories of Scramble Crossing. So I think we're currently in chapter 7 called Psychopath. I think. I'm not sure because I was kind of just not paying attention. And there were so many people around, like always. And the Hachiko statue especially had so many couples around. Everybody was either grinning at me or pointing their cell phones at me. If I looked behind me, I'd see the huge Ofront building where I'd humiliated myself last night. The videos from that night were probably online, where they'd be shared around the globe for the rest of eternity. There was no way I'd ever manage to get them all deleted. People will be using that video to make fun of me until the day I die. I was so frustrated, sad, and irritated that I wanted to run away, but if I did, Shogun would kill me, so I stayed. I tried my best not to look at the people around me, and then, trembling, I set foot inside the train car they called the Green Frog. Oh, she's still here. Sena Aoi was there, just like I thought she'd be. She was the only one in the car. I never thought about it before, but maybe the reason that no one else came in was that she'd done something somehow. Was it her Gigalomaniac power?
お前か。エラーを見つけたのか。
I shook my head a little and offered her the Gari-Gari-Kuns I bought at the store. This is what the Japanese called nothing special. I brought you this gift. It's nothing special, but, thank you. I was following Japanese tradition, you see. If you went to see someone, you were expected to bring a gift. I didn't expect her to protect me for free. I gave you this Gari-Gari-Kun. Please protect my life. I'd pay her with 3 Gari-Gari-Kun popsicles a day. With an offer like that, Sena was sure to agree.
くれるのか。ありがとう。
Sena took them, with much less questioning than I thought. She'd fallen for my trap.
日常は何味が好きだ。私は断然ソーダ味だな。
She ripped open the plastic and took out the popsicle. Maybe I was imagining it, but it felt like she had a grin on her face. She must really like Gari-Gari-Kun then. Sena, if you eat too many, you'll get sick.
僕はコーラ味。
Which is a soda.
なんだと。
Oh.
コーラ味なんて
Oh
邪
no.
道だ。ふざけるな。
Only idiots eat them.
すいません。
She got mad at me, but I don't think it was worth getting mad at someone over. But I couldn't set her here.
それで
She gave me a questioning glance as she began to nibble on her popsicle.
私に何か用か。
Oh, could Sena do anything to make herself look less intimidating? She always looked so angry. Because she was! All I was doing was asking her for help, but I felt like my nervousness was going to kill me. I wasn't even good at talking to 3D girls in the first place. I took several deep breaths, and somehow managed to calm myself down.
僕を助けてほしい。
どういう意味だ。
僕はニュージェネの真犯人に、狙われてる。この前話したでしょ。将軍っていうやつなんだ。僕はきっとそいつに思考盗撮されてる。
思考盗撮か。そいつ何者だ。
知るもんか。僕が聞きたいぐらいだ。
この渋谷で思考盗撮できる連中なんて限られてる。ギガロマニアックスか、あるいは望みの連中か。
She's smart. She knows.
望み？
望みテクノロジー、プロジェクトノアによって世界を手に入れようとしてる。
What? Isn't that what they usually call a conspiracy theory? Maybe Shogun was working with them.
僕を助けてよ。頼むよ。
I started to feel worse and worse. I just wanted somebody to cling to, somebody to save me. Sena took another bite of her Gari-Gari-Kun. Her eyes narrowed.
言ったはずだ。中途半端な気持ちで踏み込むなら妄想に食われると。お前には覚悟があるか。
Oh, is it gonna be she gonna train talk me?
ないよ。あるわけないだろ。僕がただ助けてくれって言ってるんだ。こんなのもううんざりなんだ。なんで僕ばっかり。
I dropped to my knees. Forget about me. Protect me. What did I ever do to any of you? I didn't want to do anything.
覚悟はなしか。
I could feel her cold gaze. I knew how pathetic I looked. I couldn't look up.
だが、その将軍というやつは気になるな。もし望みの人間なら、ニュージェネ事件も連中が起こしてるということか。だとしたら、それを捨ておくわけには。
She was looking out the window and mumbling to herself. She was frowning, lost in thought, but still eating her gari-gari-kun popsicle. After a moment, she suddenly stood up in front of her. After a moment, she suddenly stood up from her chair and came over to me.
私に守ってほしいのか？
Yes, damn it! Why does she always have to look down on me whenever we spoke? Did she think she was a queen or something? In my mind, I was angry at her, but in the real world, I was just nodding along helplessly.
それはつまり、私とお前はこれから行動を共にする。
Sidekick obtained, but in her mind is like, yes, slave obtained. Obtained.
それでもいいんだな。
I'm okay with anything, as long as you'll protect me. My top priority now was protecting myself from Shogun, my greatest enemy.
本当に守ってくれるなら文句は言わない。
決まりだ。
She reached out her hand. I didn't know what she meant, so I just stared at her long, lithe fingers. She looked frustrated for a second before grabbing me and pulling me to my feet. Our eyes met for a second. She was looking into my face at point-blank range, so I quickly looked down. She let go.
じゃあ行くぞ。
So, this was after Takumi did his thing with Ayase's jump attempt. So this was after he manifested like the flower bed. She turned her back to me.
行くってどこへ？
So now, like, she already knows that he has powers, but she doesn't. I mean, she knows that he has powers, but we also don't have a D sword yet.
のぞみテクノロジーの本社だ。
Well, where are we going? This is your first time, so we're going to the final boss.
これから乗り込む。
To break into enemies HQ? No. What was this idiot thinking? Was she suicidal or something? I screwed up. I was an idiot to go to her for help. I'm not going. I'm definitely not going there. I'm the guy who says to the hero, "You can't go. It's suicide," not the hero who actually goes and commits suicide. I stood there with my mouth open, gaping like a fish. Senna ignored me and left the train car. I decided there was no way I was going anywhere. And then I realized my arms couldn't move. I looked down at my body. Is he chained? Is he chained? There was a white chain wrapped around me. It was wrapped tight too. I tried to pull it off. It didn't move. Who put it there? When? What was going to happen here?
ぐずぐずするな。
Senna looked at me, poking her head against the train car. Poking her head up against the train car window. The chain holding my body jerked forward. I tried to stay where I was, but my body wasn't moving like it should. The chain I led outside the car and ended in Senna's hand. She was holding it. Senna was holding the chain. So she was the one pulling it? So this was some kind of public humiliation fetish? Like with a dominatrix and her slave then? Okay, I can work with that. No, wait, no, I can't! Ugh. I was such an idiot to come to Senna for help. She was the worst choice. Somebody help me. This isn't fair. Is this going to be where we go to the next ending? Because I feel like going straight to Nozomi would be like... That's quite a big leap, you know? The Nozomi HQ building was within walking distance of Shibuya Station, but my mental strength felt like I was going to run out before I got there. Senna was walking right through the middle of the city with me wrapped up in a chain behind her. Of course, there were any number of people with their phones pointed at us, as if I hadn't been humiliated already. There were probably threads up on 8chan already. Boy Psychic Nichijou doing human pet play with a black-haired hottie in the middle of Shibuya. The DQNs were going to tease me again. I kept begging, but Senna wouldn't take the chains off.
今のお前にとって必要なのは目立つことだ。今のところ、その目的は達成されてるだろ。
I wonder if the chain is visible to other people, because that is part of her delusion thing. But like, seeing how she wants to... I mean, real booting it would make it... Like, it would use a lot of power for her. But, like... having it, like, visible to other people would definitely make it very noticeable to other people, so he would get attention really easily. I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. What did that mean? I never tried in my life. Said, Coach Anzai, I want to be a man who stands out. I don't know who that is. Is that an anime reference? A famous coach from a certain manga in the mid-2000s Japanese internet culture. It was a common meme to say, Coach Anzai, I want to... Anzai. I want to look that up, actually. I'm kind of curious. I want to say it's probably Slam Dunk, but it's mid-2000s. Maybe it's afterwards. Oh, it is Slam Dunk! Oh, this is Coach Anzai. Man, it's been... Oh god, it's been so long since I've seen that. Oh, that was quite the anime. And we were heading into enemy HQ too. We could be killed at any moment. But Senna ignored my pleas. She went inside a fancy looking building, still holding the chain in her hands. I was literally dragged along behind her. Kind of what they're like, I guess in her route we're just storming the HQ. Well, like, unlike a lot of the other characters, except for Rimi, we got a lot about Senna and her past. We know why she's the way she is, and we know what her motivations, and we know what her end goal is. While, like, for example, for Ayase, we don't know how she ended up being like that. Well, and Kozupi, there are a lot of details about her life that are kind of gone that we don't know about, and same with Yua. Meanwhile, like, Nanami's problem was a different one. It was just based on Takami's point of view of how he viewed Nanami. And, I mean, in Nanami's route, she wasn't even in it for most of it because we decided not to even, like, save her. So, it was all about Nanami. It wasn't about Nanami, it was about Takami's view of Nanami. Well, here we already kind of know a lot about Senna. I kind of wonder what they would add to it. Speedrun? Speedrun Nozomi Destruction? I guess when I saw how fancy the lobby in front of me was. The Nozomi Group. It was supposedly one of Japan's biggest corporate conglomerates right now. It was like a worlds apart from the daily life of a wimpy school kid like me. And we know what conglomerate is, just a big company with more companies in the company. I'd never been inside a building like this before, and the size of the lobby, and the pretty girl sitting motionlessly at the reception desk staggered me. This was a corporate office, right? Wasn't it supposed to be off limits to the public? Well, Senna and I were wearing a Suime uniform. We were clearly both high school kids, and one of us was a weirdo with a chain wrapped around him. I didn't understand how Senna could just walk in like she owned the place. Was she just crazy? Of course, we went through the automatic doors and saw the receptionist. Their eyes met ours.
帰ろうよ。
I hesitated to go any further, but Senna didn't stop.
心配するな。
We walked past the front desk and into the elevator hall. Nobody said a word. Why? Gigalomaniac's power! Senna didn't get in on one of the elevators. She opened the emergency exit near the elevator hall. There was a dimly lit emergency staircase inside. Only after we were there did she stop.
周囲は私たちを望みの社員だと思い込んでる。
Oh, she's got her sword out already. She's ready. The sense of something pressing up against my body had vanished. I looked and saw that the chain wrapping around me had disappeared. Now Senna was holding her D-sword in hand. That chain was a reo-booted delusion then. And then the chain Senna had reo-booted by sending antiparticles into the dead spots of my eyes suddenly disappeared.
望みの社員と思ってるって、どういう？
そう思い込ませた。肉眼で私たちを見た人間全員にな。
Making them believe it? Was that possible? Senna looked up towards the top of the stairs. What looked like a security camera was waiting there. There was a red light on it, and it was scanning from left to right while making an eerie noise.
監視カメラにも思い込ませることってできるの？
やろうと思えばできるかもな。試したことはない。それに、やる必要もない。
Just gonna fucking slice it, and it's like, yep, yeah, they can't see us no more.
なんでバレちゃうじゃないか。ありえない。スニークミッションでは監視カメラを最初に壊すでしょ。常識的に考えて。
Dun. Stealth missions, the type of missions, blah blah blah. We already know. We know Metal Gear. Metal Gear. At least that's what I had learned from my video games.
言っただろ。お前が目立つことが必要なんだ。
I had no idea what she meant. She was contradicting herself, wasn't she? She wanted to camouflage us by making everyone believe that we were Nozomi employees, but I needed to stand out. Which was it? What was she trying to accomplish here? No one ever explained to me what the hell they were actually talking about. Did they all think I was stupid? Did they all just think that there is no point in telling Takumi Nishijo since he wouldn't be able to understand it? Yeah, I was smart, damn it. My IQ was definitely higher than Senna's. I was sure of it. He's so full of himself. While I stood up there, biting my lip in frustration, Senna began to walk up the stairs herself. Was she really going to protect me? No, probably not. She was putting me in danger by forcing me to come here. Also, please don't go on ahead without me. At least tell me where we're going and what we're doing here. And why do we need to take the stairs instead of the elevator? I'm out of shape.
エレベーターに乗るのは自殺行為だ。
You're putting yourself in a box that they can control. I could hear Senna's voice above me. More mind reading? I sighed and followed Senna up the stairs. When I got to the second floor, Senna was waiting for me. When she saw that I caught up, she headed up another flight.
敵の本拠地でエレベーターに乗ったら閉じ込められて身動きが取れなくなるのがオチだろ。
それはそうだけど。
それより西条、将軍について教えろ。そいつはいつからお前を攻撃するようになった？
1ヶ月ぐらい前。
話したことがあるんだな。
I nodded. She turned around and looked at me from above. I could almost see your panties from here, Senna. I quickly looked away.
どんなことを言っていた？
What did he tell me? I told her all about the things Shogun had told me, about how he threatened me with his fake kidnapping.
畑野という名前に聞き覚えは？
ないけど。
将軍が言っていたかもしれないだろう。よく思い出せ。
Hatano? I hadn't heard it before.
誰？
プロジェクトノアに関わっていた男だ。
I didn't know him. I didn't even know what Project Noah was.
そうか。知らないなら別にいい。
She turned away from me and began to silently walk up the stairs. Now I think of it, I kind of wonder why she's doing this now. Because, I mean...
まだ。
Like, you can argue, like, oh, she has extra help because Takumi's here with her. But, like, she also has Kozupi. And if she like, Kozupi seems like she'd be willing to help Senna. But she's not bringing her with him in this route. So, like, I feel like if you had the choices to bring Takumi or Kozupi, it would make more sense to bring the other one. Right? Or am I thinking something else? Or maybe she doesn't want to endanger her friend because she considers Kozupi as a friend while Takumi is like, this is a give or take relationship. Are we there yet? We walked up almost 20 flights of stairs with no breaks. I didn't think I'd ever walk up so many flights of stairs in my life. I was so tired. Please, no more stairs. The sweat was falling from my brow and threatening to get into my eyes. I kept wiping it away, but it kept coming back. My legs were exhausted, and I was so out of breath I thought I'd suffocate. I bent over, hands on my knees, and tried to catch my breath. The sweat fell off and made a puddle on the floor.
あと、どれぐらい登るの？
It's like the stairs scene from Final Fantasy VII. Oh no, it's locked upstairs. We have to take the elevator.
社長室は最上階にあるらしい。31階だ。
10 more flight of stairs? Wait, why was I doing this? I asked Senna to protect me. What was I doing here? I saw that ASCII art of Polnareff's face appear in my mind's eye. You're right, I don't know what's going on at all. The sound of my panting echoed through the quiet emergency staircase. Surprisingly, Senna didn't try to go on without me. She leaned up against the wall, staring at me expressionlessly. She was giving me a chance to rest from the look of it. There was another security camera above her head. There were cameras on all the floors. They must have known exactly where we were for a while now. Security might come for us any moment.
監視カメラに細工をしなかったのは、
So she whispered suddenly.
将軍がもし望みの人間で、このビル内にいるなら、おびき寄せることができるかもしれないと思ったからだ。
つまり、僕はおとりってわけ？
Yeet.
そういうことになる。もともと望みになんか興味はなかったんだけどな。このビルに乗り込むことにしたのだって、イレギュラーだ。
Okay, well that answers my question. Because I thought like if you're gonna storm Nozomi, Kozuki would probably be a better option, but that wasn't her goal. She was just trying to get as much attention as possible, and Takumi definitely beats Kozupi in that regard.
もちろん、いつかはプロジェクトノアを潰そうとは思っていたが、それは今じゃない。それよりも優先しなくちゃいけないことがあった。
She turned talkative all of a sudden. Maybe she was explaining the reason she'd come here? She didn't tell me what it was that I'd had to do first.
お前の話を聞く限り、その将軍は何かを知ってる。あるいは、畑野のことも。
Whenever she said that name, her expression would darken for a moment. Was he some kind of terrible criminal or something?
安心しろ、西条。これは交換条件だ。お前におとりになってもらう代わりに、私はお前を守る。
She's technically not wrong.
それにお前だって、将軍の正体を知りたいだろ？脅威を排除するには、こちらから攻撃。
Oh. She suddenly stopped speaking. Her eyes narrowed. She stepped away from the wall, holding the D-sword at ready on the small landing.
どうしたの？
Someone's coming. Senna didn't answer. She looked down over at the stair railing, and then froze up.
この声、どこから？
Voice?
お前、何者だ？
She suddenly screamed. I thought she was yelling at the cameras, but she was looking further up at the ceiling. Was it? A terrible thought ran through my mind. I looked up too. Of course, there was nothing there. I couldn't hear a voice either. I could tell what was going on though. Was it the eyes of God? Whose eyes are those? Shogun, he was using the satellites in the sky far above us to read her mind and speak to her.
セナ、その声を聞いちゃった。セナ！
I grabbed her and shook her.
将軍は、望みの人間じゃないらしい。
I knew it. Senna had heard Shogun's voice.
騙されてる。あいつは敵だよ。信じちゃダメだ。
音だ。
My hand was on her shoulder. She grabbed it and held it tight. Her nails dug into me. It hurt. I winced.
西条、音がしている。気をつけろ。
What's the sound? Oh, jeez. There's a flash of light above us. I saw an image in my mind. A dark room, a pool of blood on the floor, a strange object that looked like a cross. And someone was lying helpless, trapped, bound to it, their clothes stained with blood, their right hand severed at the wrist. No, Nanami, no! I saw it. I could see every detail. I was sure of who I'd seen. It was Nanami.
ナナミがこのビルのどこかに。
Shogun had kidnapped her after all. The severed hand was real, not a delusion. I had to find her. I hadn't been able to save her, and now she was suffering. I have to find her. This time I had to save her.
落ち着け、西条。これは罠の可能性が。
さっき君だって将軍の言葉を信じたじゃないか。
I knocked Senna's hand away. The CEO's office was on the 31st floor, right?
違う。音を聞け。将軍の干渉とは別の妄想だ。
I ignored her and started to run. I was tired, but it didn't matter. I was desperate. Nanami was suffering. It was my fault. It was all my fault. I failed last time. I'd run away. Nanami must hate me. Forgive me. I'm such a terrible brother. Damn it, I wanted power. A D-sword like Senna had. Why couldn't I get a D-sword? I wanted it so badly. Nanami, don't die, please. Wow. In Nozomi HQ. Nanami. Okay. This is the first time we saw this room empty. It kind of threw me for a loop for a little bit. I was like, huh, this was really weird. I'm not used to this. The 31st floor was large, yet had only one door. I flung it open and saw that it was in the room that I'd seen in my mind. There were monitors hanging from the ceilings, all of which had the word Nozomi in the background. Wait, did I read that wrong? I flung it open and saw that it was the room was it? I mean, the room you saw was... Maybe you just saw a different angle and it is the same room, but I didn't see any of that in the other CG. I looked around for Nanami. It was too dark to tell whether she was here or not, but...
Nanami.
It didn't feel like there was anyone else here. Nothing moved, nothing breathed, there was nothing here.
西条!
Senna followed me into the room. She grabbed my hand.
今すぐ出るぞ。これは罠だ。
だって、ナナミが。
聞こえないのか、この音が。
Shit. Suddenly, the open door slammed shut on its own. The room got darker.
しまった。
Senna ran into the door and tried to force it open with no luck. Her D-sword vanished as if it was melting into thin air.
閉じ込められた。
だったら、力を使えばいいじゃないか。
Did you not just see her sword vanish? You can't use it, you dumbass!
うまく妄想できない。
If only you listen! Senna winced and rubbed her temples before shaking her head. I had a headache. I only noticed it after I calmed down. It wasn't that bad, but it felt like it was coming to from the very center of my head. It was like it was pounding in time with my heartbeat, a small, barely noticeable pain. My head was starting to feel fuzzy. Where was Nanami? Was this Shogun's trap? Was Shogun on my side? What kind of stuff does Nozomi Technologies even make? Senna's tits were pretty flat. It came out of nowhere, dude. Who was Hatano? Weird. Why couldn't I focus on a single thought?
バイオ周波数攻撃を受けているぞ。
Whoa, was that a laser? Two of the monitors above suddenly changed what they were showing. They each showed a different man in a late middle age. Hi, cult leader.
いかにも。おそらく井ノ原先生が推進したゆとり教育の産物だろうね。
Hi, corrupt politician. So like every politician.
私はただ300人委員会のプランを実行したまでだがな。世界人間牧場計画の一環としては悪くないプログラムだったよ。
What? Who are these people?
それを潰したのも井ノ原先生だというのがなんとも滑稽なところだよ。300人委員会も予想外だっただろうね。
私と倉持先生の野心も知らず、のうのうと世界を牛耳っているつもりなのだろうが、
Declaring
そんな
war.
連中に対するある種の宣戦布告だったんだよ、あれは。
世界を掌握するのに300人も必要ない。我ら2人で十分なのだからね。
What a narcissist. What were these two talking about? Then their bulging eyes turned to look at us.
それにしてもノルセが言っていた通りだったね。まさかここまでバカ正直に網にかかる者がいたと。
Oh man, I hate it when people do like really dumb things. Like, come on, talk to me.
1週間も放置しておけば衰弱してろくに抵抗もできなくなろう。
畑野瀬名はすでにコードサンプル取得済みと資料にはある。
Senna Hatano? Who the hell was that?
洗脳を施した方が良さそうだ。我らの兵士としよう。
兵士兼慰み者だな。ギガロマニアックの少女を奴隷とするなど実に気分が良さそうではないか。
Definitely a cult leader.
井ノ原先生もお好きだね。
ではギガロマニアックスの諸君、監禁生活をせいぜい楽しみたまえ。
1週間が経つ頃にはプロジェクトノアにより世界は大きく変わっていることだろう。その変革の瞬間を見ることができない君たちに同情するよ。
Don't worry, you won't either. The faces disappeared from the monitor. The room became dim again. It was a trap! It was a trap! Damn it, why would grown adults, one of whom was evidently a diet member, want to set up a trap for a creepy loser kid like me? Not fair, it's not fair! Nani wasn't here. She was being held in another room. I felt pathetic for falling for it. I should have just listened to Senna.
衆議院議員と天聖振興会の教祖が300人委員会の一員だったとはな。
So I guess we're gonna get more of the committee of 300 in this ending. Interesting. Senna was slamming her shoulder against the door. It wasn't budging. Maybe it had been locked from the outside. It looked tough, like it was probably impossible to break.
300人委員会
I remember reading about them in some conspiracy theory. Were they real?
よく考えてみればそれも納得だ。もともと沈黙の兵器の理論を作ったのは300人委員会なんだからな。
さっきのおっさんたちが言ってたプロジェクトノアって何
Senna moved away from the door. Evidently, she'd given up. She looked around the dim room, frowning.
のぞみテクノロジーが進めている沈黙の兵器開発計画だ。
沈黙の兵器
一言で言うなら広範囲に作用するマインドコントロール装置だな。思考盗撮、視覚投影、五感制御。
I'm gonna be honest. If I was Senna, I'd be fuming right now. I'd be like, you fucking idiot.
肉体的には損傷を与えることはない。音もないし、色もないし、匂いもしない。目にも見えない。だが確実に多くの人の精神をゆっくりと静かに汚染していく。誰にも気づかれないまま攻撃は完了しているんだ。
まるでギガロマニアックスの力みたいじゃないか。
You're right. Cookie for you, talking me.
当然だ。沈黙の兵器はギガロマニアックスを人工的に生み出そうという考えから始まったんだからな。
It was such a bizarre thing to hear that it didn't feel real. But that's just how it went. I wasn't a hero, so even if this incredible conspiracy was real and had been at work right here in Shibuya, I didn't want to try and fight it. Even if I tried, I wouldn't be of any help. Leave it to somebody else who's stronger than me. If only you left your decisions like that too. It was possible that the new gen murders, as well as the bizarre things that were happening to me, were all part of Project Noah. If that was true, I'd better get out of Shibuya right now so they couldn't hurt me. All I wanted was for Nanami to be safe, for me to be safe, to live in peace. But for that to happen, I had to get out of here. I didn't want to spend a week stuck in here, especially since there didn't seem to be any food or water. Right. That's what those old men wanted. A week without food or water would weaken us. It might even kill us.
セナ、なんとかここから脱出する方法を考えてよ。
扉は開かない。
Senna looked tired.
ディソードは
What did I just fucking say?
なぜか出せなくなった。力を封じられたか。沈黙の兵器で攻撃されているぞ。日常。
Attacked? What did that mean? Did it mean that there was no way to escape? Senna lay down right on the floor like she was exhausted.
大丈夫？
そう。体がだるい。それになんだか妙な気持ちだ。胸の奥が締め付けられるような。
Senna's breathing was shallow. Her chest was exposed, just like a little. I could see the sweat forming on it even in the darkness. Despite everything that was going on, it still looked so sexy. I realized that the room was awfully hot.
なあ、水を持ってないか？
Of course I didn't. I was getting thirsty too. The idea of spending a week without water in this heat made me feel sick. Senna was staring at me. I wasn't capable of looking at a 3D girl in the eyes, so I quickly turned away, but I could still feel her staring at me. Don't look at me.
水はないよ。
I glanced at her for a second. Our eyes met. Why was she looking at me like that? She looked like a young maiden in love. Huh, really? Of course, I was a virgin who never had a girlfriend, so I didn't know what a young maiden in love actually looked like, but still. I quickly turned away and audibly gulped.
おかしい。気をつけろ、日常。感情を操作されているかもしれない。
Look at your picture. Look at the formula and remember your rage.
え、それってどういう？
お前を見ていると切ない気持ちになってくるんだ。
Ooh la la.
ふざけた攻撃を。
Oh my god. It just occurred to me. This is like the meme where it's like two people enter a room, the door locks, and then it says, you guys cannot leave this room until you guys fuck. In other words, they were forcing Senna to fall in love with me? Or maybe she was just in love with me from the start. No, not a chance in hell.
感情を操作って一体どんな仕組みで。
人の感情なんて結局脳を流れる電気信号でしかないんだ。その電気信号に干渉する技術は世界中で研究されてる。案外とっくに実用化されてるかもしれない。ましてや沈黙の兵器ノア2なら造作もないことだ。分かっただろう。世界は電気仕掛けだと私が言った意味が。
Like a program, maybe. Rows of zeros and ones that could be easily manipulated. It had been scientifically proven that there were electrical signals running through the brain, so whatever you defined as a soul or a mind was electrical too. So in the end, it's no different than 2D. The heroines from my H games, at least a lot from ESO, Seraton from the anime, and Senna. What was the difference between any of them? If Senna was right, and the whole world ran on electricity, there was no difference at all. Every one of them was the same. I felt like I understood a little about what Senna meant by errors. That would make a Noah 2 a really powerful computer virus, or maybe a PKer using an illegal cheat. Even Nighthawk couldn't beat someone like that, and I was way more useless than he was. The only thing I was good for was getting a miserable game over by starving to death in a locked room.
僕が悪いんじゃない。死亡フラグ立てまくってる。
Oh my god.
僕の中の人が悪い
I'm
んだ。
gonna. I covered my head with my hands and curled up into a ball. "28 hours passed since we've been locked in the room. Shit. I've fallen unconscious several times already. Waves of different feelings were watching over me. One moment I felt depressed, and the other maniacally excited. It was wearing down my mind. Senna and I said nothing to each other. Senna had been completely useless since we'd been locked in here anyway. The one saving grace was that there were computers in this room. There were several other monitors besides the monitors that had been showing the filthy faces of the Diet member and the cult leader. These monitors were all connected to computers. The various computers had internet too. I tried posting SOS messages on several message boards. Did you seriously give your prisoners internet? It hadn't worked though. I couldn't post anything. I could receive messages but not post anything. No chats, no emails. Somebody out there was watching us, at the orders of those two men. Why were they giving us access to information? I couldn't tell. A few hours after I began looking around the internet, I happened to look at the top stories on Taboo News. One headline struck out to me: "Riot in Shibuya Scramble Crossing." And then it happened. Thaw the melter! First, there was the rumbling. Oh no, the rumbling! The floor, no, the whole building began to violently shake. Next, a terrible ring in my ears. It was a high-pitched sound of something resonating that threatened to split open my head. I looked over at Senna and saw that she was holding her ears in pain. And then, an intense, violent rumbling. Like somebody had thrown the building into a blender. I couldn't stay standing. I fell and started to roll, and quickly slammed back first into the wall. Senna was crouching into a ball in the middle of the room. And above her, the monitors hanging from the ceilings were swaying like pendulums. Bump, bump. The whole world started to move in slow motion. The monitors started to slow down, and with a dull crack, the aluminum post holding them up broke. They fell, slowly, right towards Senna. I experienced this feeling before, hadn't I? Yeah, that's right, when Ayase had jumped off the school building. She was going to die. If one of those huge monitors fell on her head, she'd die. I couldn't get there in time. She was at least 5 meters away. I didn't have the courage you needed to sacrifice yourself to save a 3D girl. Instead, though, a delusion formed in my mind. In the delusion, I was running across the shaking floor, grabbing her in my arms and saving her heroically. Go! It all happened in an instant. Oh, that's kind of how Rimi used her power at one point when she accidentally killed Kosupi. I blinked, and in that moment, my body teleported over to Senna. I grabbed her and rolled out of the way. I could hear the monitor slamming down onto the floor right next to me. The room had been so dark, but now my vision was white. There was a ear-piercing explosion and then a shockwave, even bigger than the others, assaulted me, and then I passed out. How much time had passed? My mind felt like it was floating in the darkness. Like there was something close, frustrating close. I faintly felt something warm and then slowly opened my eyes. Oh, did she shield us? Or are we just unconscious and the room's like broken? Senna's face was right in front of me. Her long hair was draping down my cheeks. The sensation of her breathing was touching my nose. Her eyes were closed, but her eyelashes were twitching. She seemed to be just unconscious. She was so close. I wanted to kiss her. If I wanted to kiss her, I could. I tried to back away, but I couldn't move. Only then did I realize the situation I was in. I looked around, but it was too dark to see. It was like there was a thin veil over me. I realized what it was. Dust. We were buried in the rubble. I hadn't gone blind. There were no gaps to see out of anywhere around us. We were wedged in a tiny space. If I tried to move my limbs, I could hear the sound of pebbles falling. When I heard that, I stopped moving. A cold sweat formed on my forehead. Was there an earthquake? There have been a lot of them in Shibuya lately. Maybe they were leading up to this one. Had Tokyo finally been hit with the next superquake? And then the Nozomi building had collapsed, maybe? I remember the terrorist attack that had hit America a few years ago, and instantly felt miserable. That incident. We were trapped in the rubble, but we were safe. Maybe we'd been incredibly lucky. Of course, there was no telling how long that luck would last. The rubble around us was in a state of precarious balance. I couldn't tell, but it was possible that there was 10 tons more rubble right on top of us. If we moved and destroyed that balance, the rubble would crush us inside of a second. I shivered as I imagined what would happen then, and then I stopped moving. I don't want to die. I don't want to die here, crushed without anyone knowing where I am. Someone, please come save me. The self-defense force, the rescue squad. I don't care who, just come and save me. I listened to see if I could hear anyone, but there was only an eerie silence. The only thing I could hear was Senna's breathing. Damn it, how could she stay asleep at a time like this? She was lying right on top of me, her body tight against mine. Her body was pressed down on me, her chest, her stomach, her legs, almost her entire body was on top of me. It was heavy. It was heavy, but I could also feel the softness of her body. And I could still feel her breath tickling my cheek. Did it seem a little sweet because of all the gari gari she ate? Her breathing was deep, rhythmic, and with each breath, her chest heaved slightly, and every time it did, I could feel it. Was this some kind of new type of torture? My mind wasn't going to last 5 minutes against this. I need to wake her up and get out of here. Wake her up? Was that safe? If she woke up, what would she do? Senna was always glaring at everyone, regardless of who they were. At a minimum, she called me a pervert. She might even go crazy and try to rip my throat out with her teeth. We were close enough, and since she was on top, she could do it. She could do it! I wouldn't be able to run. Maybe that was going too far, but it was certainly possible that Senna would panic when she woke up. She panicked and struggled and would bring the rubble down on top of us. Oh, what was I supposed to do? I want to put my hands to my temples and think. I couldn't, so instead I settled for bashing my head against the rubble below. If nothing else, it would stop me from getting horny for Senna. Don't think about it. You're not interested in 3D girls. You like 2D girls. Think about Seraton's face. Don't think about Senna's tits. God damn it. God damn it, talking, man. She's all stuck up anyway. Not your type. She's not turning you on at all. Don't get horny. Don't get horny. Don't get horny! I was so horny. Maybe I could have my way with Senna while she was asleep. Dude, man, what the fuck? Maybe I could lick the lips that were always saying all those mean things. No, not a good idea to go with the lips first. I wasn't ready for that yet. Maybe I could lick her cheek? What did the 3D girl's skin taste like? Sweat? Or was it sweet, maybe? Oh, is that Daddy? I froze and ended the delusion I was forming in my mind. I could hear her voice mixed in with her breathing. It was soft like a whisper. And weak, far weaker than you'd think from the haughty way she always spoke. She was mumbling. Her eyes were still closed. She wasn't awake yet. I was relieved to see that she hadn't read my mind and found out what I'd been thinking a second ago. A small tear came down from one of her closed eyes. And then it fell on my cheek. It was so warm, but it quickly cooled. Even Senna cried sometimes, huh? I started to feel a little depressed. What had happened between her and her father?
あの
I tried speaking to her. Her body shivered. Her eyes slowly opened. Our eyes met at point-blank distance. She was staring at me. Her eyes were only half open, like she was still asleep. Don't look at me, it's embarrassing! And then after a moment, her face began to turn red. Her eyes went wide as she looked around.
これはどうなってる？
Oh, look at her. She's like, what?
動いちゃダメだ。瓦礫に押しつぶされちゃうから。
瓦礫だと？
I explained to her that we'd been buried alive in the earthquake.
そうか。確かあの時、すごい揺れが来て、上から大きなモニターが落ちてきて。
Now that the room's pretty much destroyed, I wonder if the device hindering Senna is broken too. So maybe she can use her D-sword now.
お前が私を助けてくれたんだったな。
I did actually, I remember that, but I have no idea how I'd done it, but I had.
礼を言う。私が守ってやる約束だったんだがな。まさか西条に助けられるとは。もっとダメな奴だと思っていたが、意外と男らしいじゃないか。
どうも。
That wasn't something I'd ever expect to hear. It might have been the first time in my life I got a compliment from a 3D girl. Of course, Seraton was always telling me how amazing I was.
だが、この状況は、良くないな。
密着してるもんね。
バカ！そうじゃないだろ。
バカ！
ここで生き埋めになってることの方だ。
ごめん。
まあ、密着してるのも良くない状況だが。
It had to be like this for some fan service.
セナのギガロマニアックスの力で何とかしてよ。できるでしょ。
難しいかもしれないが、やるだけやってみよう。西条、私の目を見ろ。
え？
お前と私の間で周囲共通認識を作るためだ。
Look into her eyes. It was already embarrassing enough being so close. If I look into her eyes, I might lose control entirely.
ぐずぐずするな。聞こえなかったのか？私の目を見ろ。
I reluctantly obeyed. I gazed into Senna's eyes. She was gazing back at me. This is really embarrassing. I never locked eyes with a girl for so long. I never looked at people in the eyes when I spoke anyway, so I wasn't used to this. The fact that our eyes met meant naturally that she was looking only at only me. Right now, all was reflected in her eyes, and nothing else was. I was filling her whole vision, and I was so close. Just imagining it made this embarrassing situation seem as sexual as a scene in an H-game. Yeah, I'm sorry, I have H-game brain. Yeah, you really do, man. Wait, no delusions. Senna was staring into my eyes. What if she could tell what I was thinking? Of course, I knew that you couldn't read somebody's thoughts by looking into their eyes, but Senna was a gigalomaniac, and I'd already seen what Kozupi could do. And anyway, this was impossible. I can't stare into a girl's eyes.
西条、目をそらすな。
Wait, Senna wasn't looking at me either.
僕には無理。
そうか。実は私も無理だ。
Look at her! Oh, she's so cute!
こんな近い距離じゃ照れる。
Seeing Senna's face this red was a new experience. It was really moe. Wait, maybe she wasn't a 3D at all. No 3D girl could be this cute. Senna, you're so cute! Senna!
熱いな。
Sweat was forming on her forehead and along her neck. I was close enough that I could smell it. There was no wind. We were trapped here under the rubble. We'd be in trouble if there was no way for air to get in. Was there? If not, we'd run out of oxygen before too long. Come to think of it, Senna was running short of breath. Her rather small chest was heaving up and down at the fast pace on top of me.
まさか息苦しい。
うるさい。暑いだけだ。
Damn it, was she telling the truth or not? And why wouldn't she just use her Gigaliomaniac power already? She could just make all the rubble disappear like a magic trick, right?
西条、お前の力でなんとかならない。この状況じゃ、私はうまく集中できない。
Nishijo's like, you think I can focus? Come on! No! What? She wanted me to help? What the hell was I supposed to do? When I saved Ayase by making that flower bed, or even when I saved Senna back there, it all just been a coincidence. I hadn't meant to do it at all. Don't come to me for help. I want you to help me. And stop breathing on me like that. It's torture. I mean it. A drop of her sweat fell into my mouth. It was salty. This is so degen, man. I thought I was gonna cry. My mind was about to shatter into a million pieces. I just tasted her sweat. It had fallen into my mouth.
おい、西条。
Her face was red, but I could see that she was angrier than she had been a moment ago.
お前、殺すぞ。
All I had done was taste her sweat. Why did she have to kill me over it? And she was the one who dripped it into my mouth in the first place.
この状況でよくそんな。
She buried her face into my chest before she finished her sentence, like she couldn't take any more embarrassment. Oh man, I think I know what happened. Maybe she hadn't even meant to do it, but for me, it was the most powerfully cute thing she could have done. Ah, she's so cute! Her breathing was going through the gaps in my clothes and right onto my skin. Senna gasped and looked up. Ah, I wanted her to keep doing it.
やめろよ。お前、何を考えてるんだ。
I'm not gonna lie, the gap noise is hitting really hard. She's clearly panicking. Maybe Senna was so used to being in charge that she was weak when somebody else got aggressive.
今すぐ妄想を封印しろ、西条。
Yeah.
お前のその股間のあれが硬くなって私の太ももに当たってるんだ、バカが。
What? Now that she mentioned it, I could feel it, the softness of Senna's thighs.
妄想するなと言ってるだろ。
Suddenly, she headbutted me right in the face. It was strong, caught me off guard, and it knocked me clean out. That's the talk me I know.
私はもう天聖振興会に戻る気はない。
実に惜しいね。君の才能を私は買っていたのだ。
利用していたの間違いだろう。私はもうあなたの言葉は信じない。教祖としての倉持雄大な虚像でしかないと分かった。
信仰の救いを君も欲していたのだ。
かつての私は欲していた。だが今は違う。
では何を欲しているのかね。
Wait, so what exactly is this? There's so much noise in the background. I'm assuming that's like rubble being removed so that Takumi and Senna could escape. But the ones talking are, I think the church, no, it's the politician and Hatano.
償いのための死だ。
Oh wait, maybe they're trying to dig Takumi out because they need his code sample. At least the politician, and Hatano might be there to help get Senna out.
一度信仰に触れた者は離れることができない。君は離れたつもりでも信仰はいかなるものをも見捨てない。
神に頼る気は神に匹敵するものを作ってしまった私には神にすがることは許されない。
西条、起きろ、西条。
Oh, they're out. I've been listening to a really pretentious conversation between two men I didn't recognize. I heard Senna whispers in the gaps between their words, and it woke me up. We were still pressed together. The rubble was all around us, and we couldn't escape. Oh, it's through the TV. I see.
人で背負うには重すぎるだろう。信仰の救いがもたらされれば、その重みも多少は減る。
私なら信仰の導きに従ったらいや、あなたの言葉に従ったから
誰かいる。話し声が聞こえるだろう。
I nodded. I could hear two men's voice. They were saying something about the Cosmic Church of the Divine Light, and they weren't a rescue team, if nothing else.
あいつか。あいつか。
This close, I could clearly hear the sound of her clenching her jaw.
言葉を語るのはやめるんだ。倉持
残念だ。最も踏ん張りなくても、すでにノア2は完成している。あとは世界に向けて我らの意志を発信するのみだ。
我らのではなく、あなたの身の花行動。
いかん。サードメルトの実験成功により、プロジェクトノアは試験段階を終了した。
The third voice. What were they talking about? Where were they speaking? If we could hear them, they had to be somewhere near the spot we were buried. Maybe we weren't buried as deeply as I thought. Senna was fidgeting. Her hands were clinging tightly onto my uniform. Tightly as if she was trying to keep control. Her gaze lowered. She wasn't looking at me.
これからの世界秩序、300人による統治から2人による統治に変わるというわけだ。今日がその夜明けだよ。
Oh, white light. Suddenly, I saw light. The rubble around us began to collapse. Senna gasped and looked up. A hand was reaching down from above, in between the gaps in the rubble.
無事か、セナ。
Oh, it's Hatano!
前。
The hand pulled her out. With her off me, I could move much easily than before. I crawled out of the gap. We were in a room in the Noseby building. It was a room we'd been trapped in.
君もノロセ同様に我らが使ってやろうと言っているのに、それを拒否するとは。統治側ではなく、家畜として生きるのが望みかね。
Most of the monitors had fallen. Their screens had cracked. Of course, they were all black. The walls were crumbling too, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. We were buried alive, but not by that much rubble. We couldn't have escaped any time we wanted to. I felt like an idiot for not moving because I was scared of being crushed.
セナ。
Senna was standing in front of a man I didn't recognize. His eyes were milky, and he was wearing a filthy coat. He looked like he was homeless. I felt like seeing him somewhere before, but I just couldn't remember where. Maybe we just passed each other in Shibuya somewhere. There's no one there but the two of them. The two voices we heard, that of the Cosmic Church's leader and the Diet member, were coming out of a speaker somewhere in the room.
おや、畑野や。どうやら親子で感動の対面を果たしたようだね。
Daughter? Senna was his daughter? I remember hearing the name Hatano from Senna before.
せいぜい再会の喜びでも語っているがいい。そしてそこから眺めているのだな。世界。
ノア2をフル稼働させれば、渋谷だけでなく、世界中のすべての人間に作用を及ぼすことが可能だ。そのネットワークはすでに構築され。
Suddenly, the voice from the speaker stopped. I heard some strange sound. The power of the speakers hadn't shut off. Something had happened.
今のって。
I wonder what happened to them.
銃声。
After the gunshot, we heard panting and a ragged, frail voice.
バカな。こんなはずでは。私はこれから統治者に。
Bang! Oh, never mind. A dying scream. It ended midway, and no further sound came from the speaker. There was a strange silence. What had just happened?
殺されたんじゃ。
殺された？誰に？
知らないよ。
Where had they been when they were talking to us through that speaker? Somewhere close? Had to be somewhere in the building at least. Which meant that whoever killed them were right nearby us.
逃げようよ。殺人鬼がここに来るかも。
だから、殺人鬼って誰だ？なんであの二人は殺された？いや、殺されたと判断した根拠は？
落ち着け、セナ。
お前には聞いてない！
悲鳴聞いたでしょ。殺されたとしか思えないよ。
But who killed them? The Shogun? But Shogun was working for Nozomi, right? No, that was just a guess I'd made. I didn't have any evidence for it at all.
逃げるのは少し面倒だ。このビルは崩れかかっている。あちこちに歪みが生じている。私がこの部屋に入ってきた直後に、入り口が瓦礫で塞がれてしまった。
Hatano's right, but it felt like there was an awful lot of rubble on the ground compared to the damage on the walls. It felt wrong, but of course, I'd never been into any abandoned buildings before. I really didn't know how much rubble was normal or how the walls looked like when they collapsed. But what I did know, however, was that we had escaped from being buried alive, but we were still trapped.
ディソードで壊せばいい。
I finally realized that the strange high-pitched noise I'd heard when we were locked in the room had vanished. The earthquake must have destroyed the device making the noise. The porter? Was that the way they were called? Was that what they were called? Maybe Senna could do something then. Relieved, I waited for Senna to make us a way out. But instead of summoning her sword, she was just staring at Hatano.
あの二人と何を話していた？
Ooh, okay, I'm gonna be honest. I've recorded the previous episode as well as this one on the same day, and I am exhausted. Oh man, and I kind of looked up just like without spoiling myself how long this route was, and this seems to be, I think out of all the character routes, it might be the longest. So instead of doing this all in one part, which I intentionally was going to do, I think I'm gonna split this into two. I'm gonna stop here for today because we did get a decent amount of it, at least an hour. I've been personally recording for an hour and 30 minutes, but a lot of it's gonna be cut out because of you know, fast forwarding stuff. But we got a lot done, and now, I mean, we still have a lot left. We have the confrontation with Hatano. We also have the confrontation with, well, I think the big bad is definitely still going to be, Genichi Narose. Tsua's still on the table. He was the one that caused a whole bunch of shit for Senna in the bad ending. But Genichi Narose is definitely going to be the big bad for here since we're actually tackling Nozomi. But yeah, I'm going to stop here for today. And we'll finish off Senna's ending next time. And until then, I will be seeing you. See ya!